there's a framework that I learned from my teacher. He talks about it. David talks about it in the, first, second, and third stage ways of relating. I prefer, Kendra Cunov and I came up with a different way of looking at it, which is a little more nuanced in my opinion, but there's a selfish approach to relating, there's a healthy approach to relating, and there's a sacred approach to relating. And behind all of those, behind all of them is the impulse of desire. The impulse of desire. So in the selfish approach, now there's healthy selfish, and there's selfish selfish. But when we want something, when we want to get something, we want to receive something, we want to experience something from our partners or from the world, we're coming at it from a place of selfishness. Not that there's anything wrong with it. It's natural. We all have like a desire to be filled, the desire to be loved, the desire to be seen, known, etc. But it's emanating from self, right? A self-gratification. And behind that is some desire, a desire to be ravished, a desire to be honored, a desire to be worshipped, especially in love, right? A desire to be filled with, overwhelmed with feminine sexual energy, a desire to be, seen as the only human being on the planet, a desire to be known, right? All these things are natural desires, right? And of course, there's a part of us that wants these things, and that's very healthy, but it's a self approach. It's a I want to be, or I want to get, or I want to have. The other side of that is I don't want, which that's where a lot of people end up trying to communicate it. Like, I don't want to be this. I don't want to experience this. I don't want to have that, which sucks because it just ends up bringing more of that experience to you, but that's a different talk. So let's say a classic example is I want your attention. Classic feminine example, because the feminine desires to be seen. So the feminine in all of us wants attention, wants to be seen, right? So I want your attention, nothing wrong with that, but there's a self to it, right? It's a self-centered desire. Now, the way this normally shows up in us is when we don't get the desire that we want to be loved a certain way, known a certain way, fucked a certain way, honored a certain way, worshipped a certain way. Our normal response is what? Complaint, right? Complain to our partner, complain about the world, complain to our friends, complain to ourselves, complain to whoever might be listening. They don't, she doesn't, I'm not getting, right? Yeah, and like we all do it. I do it, we all do it, right? But it's important that we bring awareness that it's a small portion of, basically a complaint is our way of trying to quench a desire that's not being met. It's nice to know when your partner's complaining at you and to go, oh, she must have a desire that I'm not meeting, right? Versus she's just a nag, or he's just he just complains. So when these desires aren't met, we'll complain. The more enlightened ones of us, the healthy, when we move into the healthy sacred, the more, spiritually enlightened ones will have a talk about it. We'll have a dialogue about it. Like, let me tell you the things that I need, that I want. We'll talk about our needs. And that's healthy. Like to say, I need you to pay attention to me. That's different than you don't pay attention to me, right? Like, I need you, I want you. So it's on the level of just elevated relating, it's up the ladder. It's up the ladder from a complaint, I need you to pay attention to me. I need you to respect me. That's a big one for the masculine, right? I need you to trust me. That's a big desire for the masculine, right? Probably the biggest, but we'll get to that. So in our healthy states of development, we learn to communicate these things. And oftentimes we'll communicate, but more often than not, they're just kind of more refined ways for us to complain about each other. It turns out to be, oftentimes these things start out as, I need you to pay attention to me, but they're often masked. But well, that's something that's just a good thing to notice. So once you move up into the sacred expression in relationship, the sacred relationship, it's less about what you want. So in the healthy, it's more about, here's what I need. What do you need? Right? So there's a reciprocity. Here's what I need. What do you need? Right? Right? There's a kind of a honoring of each other's needs, and that's great. And that's very, very healthy. It's not super hot. I mean, sometimes it can be, but it's not super hot. There's not a lot of sexual energy in it. There's a lot of resonance in it. There's a lot of there's a lot of authenticity in it. But so when we move into this idea of sacred, it's not only your desire, but it's the divine's desire, which oftentimes, it's hard to tell, it's different in every moment for every person, but often there's a linkage there. There's a very beautiful linkage there that's mystic. I would call it mystic. So what you want, your desire for attention, is linked in some way to the divine's desire for more love in the moment. His desire for respect or to be trusted is in some way linked to the divine, love's desire, let's call it, love's desire for deeper expression. So it's not like your personal desires are wrong. In fact, they're linked beautifully to the desire, to the divine desire, but they're bigger. It's a bigger game. It's not just about what you want or what your partner wants. It's about what love wants. Like what will serve love in the moment. And so the way that this works as we practice, as we grow as practitioners, is we go from complaining, you're not paying enough attention to me, to I need attention, what do you need? To my heart is yearning for attention. What can I do in this moment that will be an expression of that truth that serves me, serves my partner, serves the moment? That's what makes it art. That's what makes it art. Okay. So it could be a good example of this is, when a man kind of loses consciousness and either does something kind of stupid or, takes awareness off of you and puts it onto something silly like a phone or a football game or whatever it is, right? Without letting you know. Nothing wrong with football, man. But to do that, so the complaint is fucking on his phone again, or you're always on your phone, or why aren't you paying attention to me? Okay. The healthy expression would be, that it really hurts my feelings when you're on your phone. Like, is there a way for us to work this out so that you get phone time and then I get right? So there's that, right? But then there's a heart's desire that not only is your heart yearning for love, this is particularly true for the feminine, but there's a divine desire that the moment has for love's full expression, for full openness, for full, right? And who knows what that looks like? That could look like you taking his phone and putting it down your shirt. It could look like you making out with his phone. It could look like you throwing his phone across the room. It could look like, who knows what it would look like. But there's something artistic in that expression that frees everybody, frees you, elevates him. I'm just using this one example, right? That I could use examples from the masculine as well. A great way to think about this, and a good, something that we're really going to, we talked a lot about desire and art last time. Now we're going to talk about the way that these desires show up in our relating, right? They show up usually as complaints or, conscious conversations where we're kind of coming back and forth. And And what is called, what we're wanting what I mean, I think you guys are all here because part of you intuits that there's a deeper way to relate. There's a deeper way to express what you want. There's a deeper way to serve love in the moment than just give me what I want, or you suck for not giving me what I want, or however it shows up, right?